Welcome to Over 40 Fabulous and Pregnant. This is episode 10. I am your host, Jamie Massey. And in today's society, we aren't supposed to discuss a woman's age. But I want to celebrate it and support every woman's pregnancy journey over 40. While we do discuss medical treatments and medicine, you know we're not doctors. These are women's experiences that came before us, not medical advice. On today's show, we have Jodie from Albuquerque, New Mexico. She was 43 during her pregnancy. She had her first daughter in her 20s and wanted to have another child together with her new husband. She actually had a great pregnancy, so great that she says it was better than her first pregnancy in her 20s. I really connected with Jodie on how important it was to find the right doctor and her natural approach to her pregnancy and birth. Listen, I am a true hippie. I love nature. I have a holistic approach to life, and it was so refreshing to hear it's possible to take that to pregnancy also. And if the natural approach isn't your jam, I know you're still going to find a lot of value and empowering advice from her story. And I want to create a community for you. I want to help you have a fabulous pregnancy. I'm going to create a private community away from Facebook so you can share your journey alongside other women who are also over 40. To join the waitlist, go to over40fabulousandpregnant.com/waitlist to be the first to know when the membership is open. I'll also leave this link in the description below. And if you'd like to be considered a guest on the show, go to the website and fill out the form on the contact page, or you can email me at jamie@over40fabulousandpregnant.com and tell us a little bit about you and your pregnancy. And with that, let's get into Jodie's pregnancy story. Jodie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me on. Well, I'm Jodie Hoffman, and I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner. I help people balance their, just like nutrition and lifestyle and supplement needs so that they feel their best. It's kind of a holistic approach to nutrition. I've always been really passionate about nutrition and, healing with food as medicine. And so I love working with people and helping them realize that, especially women, a lot of women are afraid of fats and afraid of, eating in general. It just can be really overwhelming, and, we have all these diets that are thrown at us all the time. And, I really like to help people just see, that eating balanced meals, and eating regularly at regular times of the day, how much of a difference that can make in just how you feel and how your body functions. And so I love working with people and doing that kind of thing. And, so I'm pretty passionate about that. And, I spent about the last 5 years taking care of my mom who has dementia. And, in that 5 years, we moved from Montana to Albuquerque, New Mexico, my husband and I and my mom. And I was 6 months pregnant at the time, and this was in 2019. And I was 43 years old, and it was a whole new adventure for us. We moved here, we settled in, and then had the baby, and then the pandemic hit, and so that was really crazy. And so I was taking care of my mom and doing all that up until about the last, I placed her in a home in March of this year. And so since then, it's been kind of a different stage for us as a family now, which has been kind of nice to be able to just focus on, my husband and my daughter because it was a lot of energy taking care of my mom. I also have a 24-year-old who lives in Austin, Texas. And so I have a really different, unique perspective on parenting, having an adult grown child and a 3-year-old now. So right now I'm focusing more on my nutritional therapy business, and I also do some cleaning of Airbnbs on the side and try to stay active and in order to keep up with my little one. And the funny thing is, I have a 24-year-old, and I gave birth to her when I was 21 years old. And the funny thing about it is, my pregnancy at 43 was so much easier. My pregnancy and my birth were so much easier than they were when I was 21. So I always find that kind of funny to tell people.
And how has your education in nutrition affect your pregnancy when you were 43?
Oh, I think it had a major effect on that. I think it affected how easily I became pregnant too at that age. I did it naturally with no help of, IVF or anything like that, which I thought was pretty amazing. I just really nourished my body. I really took good care of it. I quit drinking alcohol, and I just focused on, like I said, eating regular meals, trying to nourish myself with good fats and proteins. And it also helped, throughout my pregnancy, maintaining my energy and just feeling really good. And then post-pregnancy as well, it takes a lot out of our bodies. And so nourishing ourselves with good food is really important. So I think it's been really helpful for me in having that foundation.
Let's go back to when you were 43. Were you planning to have kids, or was this a surprise?
Yes, we were planning. This is a new marriage for me, relatively new. And my husband didn't have any children. And I had always wanted another one, but my ex-husband wasn't looking in, wasn't into that. So we started our lives together, and I thought, let's try this. And he was really excited for it. And I was pretty nervous. I didn't know, what was going to happen because it had been a really long time since I'd had a baby. And so we just, I tracked my cycle, and I didn't do anything super extra special, except I did take some Vitex. It's from the Chast tree berry. It helps kind of regulate your hormones. I also dabble in herbalism. I'm an herbalist, and I love using herbs as medicine as well. And so I use that, and just, really tried to take care of myself, take care of my state of mind. And we just, tried as best we could that way. And it wound up happening. So that was great.
Awesome. So how did you find out?
Oh, well, it was, it was kind of funny because I had actually just, had a miscarriage a couple of months before, a blighted ovum, which basically, my body thought it was pregnant, and there was a little sac in there, but there was like no egg and no baby. And so that was really hard on us. We found that out in January, and then I sort of just put it out of my mind and was trying to recover from that. And we went to Hawaii at the end of February to kind of just have a little vacation with my oldest daughter. And I was supposed to start my period on that vacation, and I didn't. And I thought, that's weird. And didn't think at all about, even though like I had spent all this time, tracking my cycle and, worrying about it and all of this. Well, at this point I was just, letting it go. And, so I just thought, wow, that's funny. And I was really thankful I didn't start my period because we were on vacation. And then I got home and I still hadn't started. And I was like, okay, this is a little weird. I wasn't thinking at all that I was pregnant. I just thought maybe my cycle was off, and I took a pregnancy test and it was positive. So it was surprising, and just, it totally blew me away. I was just so excited.
That's great. What about a doctor? How did you have your regular OB that you went to?
Well, this is interesting because at the time, my husband and I were living in this really small town in Montana. It only has 3,000 people. And so I was very limited on my doctor choices. Um, and so I just, went to the regular, I think he was just like a regular family medicine practitioner that I went to. And then, I found a OBGYN in a town nearby that was about an hour and a half away. And I went and saw someone there, who I wasn't, super jazzed about, but I knew we were moving to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I started doing a lot of research, because I really wanted to find someone who was going to work with me on my birth plan and all of that. And I wound up just finding this woman. It was just crazy because I just was putting it out there, with my energy. Like, I need to find a doctor who I'm going to be so comfortable with. I was just trying to envision what I wanted. And I found this woman, and it just it was amazing how wonderfully it worked out because she was an awesome OBGYN and she worked with me completely on what I wanted. She was, like you mentioned, hippie. She was definitely of more of the hippie vibe. Very encouraging of me with the things that I wanted. And so, when we moved here and I met her, I was just so excited. And, she was wonderful and it was very helpful.
And what sort of things were you looking for with this doctor?
I wanted someone who would support me in, not having a C-section for one. I had my first daughter vaginally. And so I was pretty positive that my body could do it again. I wanted someone who, would be encouraging of me with my, ideal of not having any, medications or drugs or anything. I wanted to have, my birth be natural and, I wanted to be able to go as close to my due date as possible. There's a lot of doctors who like to, women over 40, they like you to have the baby earlier. And, I really just wanted to go as long as possible, full term. And, I wanted support with that. And so those things were really important to me. And just, I guess, doing everything as naturally as possible. That was a goal of mine. So she was very supportive with all of that.
And was she supportive with your age, or did she find any concerns with it?
No, she was really supportive. She did want to do ultrasounds weekly, as we got closer to the due date. I think it was the last, 3 weeks. We were doing ultrasounds weekly. And then she was just so sweet and wonderful. And when it got to be my due date, she said, okay, we're getting close to that point. And she said, I want you to know, your body is ready. I can tell your body's ready. Your body's done this before. It has this memory. And she said she really wanted to induce me, a couple days after my due date. Because, there is that risk that your amniotic fluid can start, getting low, and there's just a couple other things that she was kind of concerned about. And so she talked to me about it though and left the decision up to me. And so I decided to be induced, on a Saturday when my husband would be there. And, I was nervous about it, but she really helped ease my mind with it. And so, yeah, she was great.
That sounds like a great doctor. I've never heard of a doctor, telling a patient that your body is ready. It's time to go.
Oh yeah, no, she was incredible. Yeah.
So how was pregnancy overall during this time?
Oh, I felt amazing. I really did. We went on hikes. Even a memory just popped up on Facebook, because my daughter just turned 3, November 2nd. And this memory popped up of, it was just a week before I gave birth. My husband and I were hiking, around, out here in the mountains in Albuquerque. I mean, I didn't do anything too crazy strenuous, but, all throughout my pregnancy, I remained active. I tried to make sure I was at least walking every day. And, I did do some light workout kind of stuff. And, my, morning sickness was very minimal, which is crazy because, with my first, I had, hyperemesis. I was so sick.
Mm.
So sick. And I had to have IV fluid injected in me because I was just throwing up every day for like, I threw up multiple times a day, every day for like 3 or 4 months. And it was really hard on me. And so, this pregnancy was just amazing. I had hardly any morning sickness. I had really good energy. I was just, it was incredible. I don't remember having any sort of like issues at all. I didn't get swollen feet or any of that stuff. So yeah, it was a really incredible pregnancy. I felt awesome.
So did you change your diet before and after pregnancy?
No, not really. Not really. I was just, trying to eat as well as possible. I mean, the first couple of months, I think it was the first 3 months, I had a big aversion to salad. And, I couldn't eat like lettuce or, cold vegetables of any kind or things like that. But, other than that, I just tried to make sure I was eating balanced meals and, yeah, I don't think I did anything really special. Just tried to make sure I was eating, good, healthy fats and proteins and eating regularly.
Mm-hmm. And did you find out the sex of the baby?
I did. I wanted to have the testing done. They did a blood test, for everything. Like, I don't know exactly everything they test for, but I just kind of wanted to be prepared and know what we were getting into. And, as far as like, chromosomal abnormalities and things like that. And so, we had a blood test done, and when they asked, I didn't know the sex of my first baby. And so I thought I would want to wait, but when the time came, we just decided to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And, so yeah, we knew we had a girl.
What about products? Did you have anything that really helped you with your pregnancy?
Not really. I think, I don't think I had any products that were super important to me. Food was pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
When we moved here, I was so excited because it was like, peach season. And in Montana, peaches are really hard to come by. And, I ate so many peaches. So that was something that was really amazing, was having all this fresh fruit, down here. I didn't realize that, New Mexico had so much delicious fresh fruit. So that was really good. But yeah, as far as products, I don't think I had anything.
Okay. And how did you prepare for this birth?
Oh yeah. So this is something I am excited to share with you. I found this book, and I honestly don't even know how I found it. Maybe a friend of mine told me about it. I don't remember. But, this book, what was it called? It was called Birthing from Within. And it's by a woman named Pam England. And it's such a beautiful book. There's all these journal prompts and art projects, and, you don't have to do them all, but I just sort of went through and picked and chose the ones that really resonated with me. But they really helped me, find my power and, my strengths, and help me kind of, process some of the fears or questions that I had about, whether or not I could do this, or, just all the things that go through your head. It really helps you process all of that. And so that book was really incredible in helping me. And so I did some, paintings and some drawings. I still have this beautiful drawing of myself with this rainbow behind me, and I'm pregnant. And every time I look at that, I always remember, how amazing I felt, and how that book really kind of helped me just sort of feel that power that I had inside of myself to do this. And so that was probably the biggest thing that was helpful for me in preparing. And, I highly recommend that book. So it was awesome.
Yeah, I have been looking at it online, and I can't wait to listen to it. It sounds amazing, right up my alley.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book.
And did you feel...
Oh, and I also had a doula. Sorry.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear about that. But did you take any classes to prepare?
Yes, I did. I took the classes offered at the hospital. My husband and I both did, and they were helpful. I think, it was a lot of stuff I already knew, but my husband maybe didn't know, and it helped us kind of work together on, breathing and like, yeah, I mean, it was a good experience going to those and connecting with other pregnant couples.
Mm-hmm. And how about your doula? How did you find her?
I found my doula online. I just started looking stuff up around Albuquerque, and I honestly didn't know if I was going to have a doula until I started reading that book, Breathing from Within. Um, and so I decided it would be really good for me to have that. And so I just found this woman, and she came over and we talked, like did sort of a like initial interview, and I really liked her energy, and she had 4 kids of her own that she had birthed naturally, and so she sort of resonated with me, and so I went with her, and she was just awesome. She was really, really helpful in helping me to formulate my birth plan,
Mm-hmm.
and also to, help me see that even if you have a birth plan, it's important to remember that your most important goal is to have a healthy baby. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was just like really good in helping me remember the most important goal of all this. The birth plan is important, but your main goal is to just give birth to a healthy baby. So
Mm-hmm. So did the book recommend a doula, or did you just get it from the book that you did want one?
yeah, I think just from the book, I just remember doing some exercises and thinking about it and thinking about what I wanted. And, I thought, I think it would be helpful and also helpful for my husband, because I think the husbands a lot of times don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
And, I think she was good for him too. And so, yeah, it was good.
Okay. So let's go over your birth plan.
Okay, so I wrote out my birth plan and then I typed it out and I made multiple copies, first of all, because I wanted to give them to the nurses on staff and I wanted to make sure everybody at the hospital knew exactly what I wanted. Because,
What a good idea.
yeah, well, because you hear these stories of, you have this birth plan and then you give it to the nurse and then that nurse is off shift and another nurse comes in and then, when you're in the throes of labor, sometimes it's hard to, um, it's hard to resist certain things if you're offered, oh, here, well, why don't we just do this, I wanted to make sure that they knew I didn't want them offering me any medications, unless I asked for it specifically. And so I wanted to make sure everyone there knew. And so, that was the biggest part of my birth plan. I really wanted to try to do this, without medication. I wanted to, really breathe through it and feel it and just let myself like have this experience fully. And that was really, really important to me. And, I wanted to, I also wanted to not have a C-section. That was like a really, I personally, I was just kind of like not feeling that at all. I just didn't want to go that route. And that was, part of how my doula helped me too. Is she said, yeah, we can want these things, but in the end, what's most important is that your baby's healthy and that, you're okay and the baby's okay. So, I think birth plans are great, but I also really realize the importance of being open-minded too. And, while you want to stick to your guns with a lot of things, you also need to remain, you need to keep yourself open in your heart and your mind with what is the best for everyone involved. So, but yeah, that was my main things in my birth plan is I wanted to have her naturally and I wanted to be able to hold her after giving birth. And fortunately, the hospital that I was at, they were really great about that. And I wanted, to have that time with her after she was born. And, so those were the main things.
Did your water break, or how did labor start?
No, I was just really feeling it. Like I could feel she had dropped. I could feel a lot of pressure. Um, and that's how my doctor knew that I was ready. She said, your body is ready. Like you can feel it. She said, I can tell, she did an examination. She said, I was dilated, like not really a lot, maybe like a couple centimeters. But it just wasn't like really going anywhere for a couple days. And so that's why we decided to induce And so we induced, on a Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. and I had her by 5:30 that evening.
Wow. That's really great.
Mm-hmm.
And how was your doula during that time?
Oh, she was good. Honestly, it's funny because, during the actual birth or during the actual, like the process of labor, I didn't really rely on her a whole lot. My husband is the one I really wanted with me. So she was supportive of my husband, I think, during um, the times that were really tough because I was like hanging on to him, and she gave me this beautiful, I don't know, I wish I knew the name of it, but, here in New Mexico, it's kind of a traditional thing to give to women who are giving birth. It's like a wrap that you can like carry the baby with after they're born.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like a scarf. It's like a multicolored scarf. And so, she told me to wrap that around my husband's shoulders and pull on that and lean down when I was, having contractions. And so I was doing that a lot. That thing came in so handy. And so I was doing that a lot throughout my, labor. And she was just sort of in the background, like as support when needed. But when she really, became useful was towards the end. When I was feeling it, like it was painful. The contractions were painful and I was feeling a lot of pressure. I just remember so much pressure. I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like something feels off. And she said, what doesn't feel right? And I told her and she said, that's right. That's how it's supposed to feel. And she was so helpful in reassuring me that that is what it's supposed to feel like, because I think, our bodies, like if this is your first birth, for me, this is a first birth that I'd had naturally. That feeling is so unfamiliar and it can be scary. And she was really helpful in reassuring me, this is how it's supposed to feel. It's okay. Like you are okay. Everything's fine. And so that was just amazing. And I think, I don't know if I would have, felt confident enough to resist medication because I felt like it was going to get a lot worse. And it wound up not. It wound up, that was it right there. That was, how bad it was going to get. And, it was, but she just was like so supportive and helping me remember that this was what I wanted and I could do it. And she gave me that confidence, that push that I needed to work through it. And so I kind of relaxed and was able to breathe through it and just feel it. And, but there are some moments I think where not all women will go through this, but I did, where I was feeling worried and scared that it wasn't right or it wasn't, how it was supposed to be. And she just really helped me through that. So.
Mm-hmm. And it sounded like you were able to walk around.
Yeah. Yeah. They definitely encouraged me to walk.
Oh, good. Your doctor did. And the doula?
The doula, the doctor, and the nurses, they were all pretty supportive of walking up and down the hallways and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Because I feel like they just want you to be strapped to the bed. And
yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were all great about telling me, this is a good time to get up and move around. And so, yeah, no, they were awesome about that.
What about the cord cutting? Did your husband get to do that?
Yes. And we did get to wait about, I think it was 10, 15 minutes after she was born before cutting the cord. I wanted to wait a lot longer, but, my doctor kind of just said, after this, and I really trusted her. Like I told you, I really resonated with her. I felt like she, really knew what I wanted. And, she told me that, generally everything they're going to get out of the cord is passed through to them within 10, 15 minutes. And so there's some, people who believe differently and that's totally okay. But we decided to cut after about 10, 15 minutes and I got to hold her that whole time, which was really special and amazing, just bare on my chest. And that was just one of the most amazing feelings ever.
Yeah. That sounded really important to you that you were able to wait to cut the cord.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So with this placenta, did you keep it or was that part of your birth plan?
Yes, I kept it and I had intentions, of dehydrating it and or just like cutting it up and consuming it. I had helped another friend do that years before. I helped her encapsulate her placenta so she could take it. And I had plans of doing that, but I wound up freezing it and I took it home and froze it. And then, I just wound up planting it in my garden. I just had so much going on with taking care of my mom and, I just sort of weighed the, benefit versus like, what do I really need to do right now? And so, yeah, I think it's great if people want to consume it. That's awesome. At that time, I just had other things going on. I also had a really, I'm sure we'll get into, issues with nursing and all of that. So I had some different things going on with that. And so my main focus was that. And, the placenta wound up in my garden, which is fine. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So what about your friend? Did y'all just use a regular at-home dehydrator?
Yes, we did. We put it in my dehydrator, and dehydrated it on the lowest possible setting. And, so it was pretty much raw still. And, then we ground it and we bought a brand new coffee grinder and we ground it up in chunks. We just took one chunk at a time. And then I had a cap 'em quick machine. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but it makes it really, really easy. It's like a little plastic thing that has all these little holes you can put the capsules in and then you fill it up with the powder. And then you just put the top on and press down and there you go. You have your whole, I think it makes like 20 pills at once. So it was pretty easy.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting. I assumed they were freeze dried, but dehydrating works too, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's how we did it. I don't know if that's the best possible way to do it, but, that was the only way that I had really seen anybody do it before. And I know there's lots of different ways to do it.
So let's get into your recovery. How did that go?
My recovery was great. My body, I felt like it bounced back really well. I had no tearing, which is amazing because with my first, that's a whole different birth story that we don't want to get into right now. But I definitely tore with my first. And so with this one, there was no tearing, which I found to be incredible. I was, I don't know. I really didn't, I was sore, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I was tired, but other than that, like I bounced back pretty quickly. So, it was really incredible.
It sounds incredible. And you said you had trouble breastfeeding?
Yes, we had, it was so hard. And this was funny because breastfeeding was the one thing I was super confident about. The one thing I was just like, oh, whatever, I've done this before because I breastfed my first until she was 1.5 years. And I thought, now breastfeeding, I got that, but then my baby wasn't transferring milk and, we go to the pediatrician and she wasn't having any, her diapers weren't wet enough. It was so scary. I was terrified. Of course, my doctors said, here's some formula. I was like, no, I did not want to do that. And so luckily here in Albuquerque, it was amazing. There's, quite a few lactation consultants and, I found a breastfeeding support group. So I went to that and the lactation consultants, they would weigh her, before and after nursing. And we found out, yes, she was not transferring milk. They looked in her mouth to see about tongue ties. And so, the funny thing about my baby was she had a posterior tongue tie, which is not visible to the naked eye. Like just looking in their mouth, you wouldn't see it like you do a regular tongue tie. It's not a flock of skin on the outside. It's, a really tight muscle underneath the tongue. And it's hard to correct. And so, through this breastfeeding support group, I found this amazing woman who is an osteopathic, she practices osteopathic manipulation therapy. And it's basically like, manipulating muscles and things like that with your hands. And I found out that she works with babies with tongue ties. So I made an appointment with her right away and we went in and this woman was incredible. She stuck her fingers in, my baby, her name is Lyra. She stuck her fingers in her mouth and under her tongue and, felt around in there. And she said, oh yeah, there's, it's really tight. She just used her fingers and adjusted it. And my baby didn't cry at all. Didn't even act upset about it. And so she told me after that, she said, okay, this is what I can do. This is all I can do. She said, if you'll notice right away if it worked. And if it didn't, you're going to have to make an appointment with a specialist to get it actually cut. So of course, I didn't want to do that, but I also wanted to nurse her. That was very important. So, sure enough, she nursed like a champ after that. And I could tell, like I could feel, it was that feeling of my milk coming out. I could just feel it. And so, oh my gosh, after weeks of pumping, and I had to pump and feed her, my pumped milk and then also try to nurse her. It was so hard and stressful and scary. And, then all of a sudden, boom, this woman just does some little, movements with her fingers, and magically my baby was able to nurse. It was totally incredible. So I was so fortunate and thankful to have that, that doctor here that was able to, do that for us.
So, she was a doctor.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And she physically manipulated your daughter's tongue somehow?
Yeah.
And that fixed it?
Yeah, the muscles. Yeah. It's sort of like, if you can think of like what chiropractors do, or like, it's like a massaging of the muscle, it's a manipulation of the muscles to help them, relax, or, basically I'm not exactly, you'd have to research, exactly what, this sort of technique does for other parts of your muscles. But, I just know for her tongue tie, it loosened that muscle under her tongue that was really tight, which was holding her tongue back. Basically the same thing as a regular tongue tie would do. That little flap of skin can keep their tongue from coming out enough to, help transfer the milk. And, loosening up that muscle, just enough, made the difference. So.
Wow. And mentally, you seemed pretty healthy also during postpartum.
Yes, I was. I mean, the not being able to nurse was really stressful, but once that was sorted out within a couple of weeks, and then everything was fine. And then she nursed really well. I wound up nursing her until she was 2 years old, and, that all went really, really great. So yeah, once that was straightened out, it was good.
So you were able to keep your milk supply up for 2 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's so amazing.
Yeah. It was awesome. And, I had to stick to my guns though, because the doctor was really pushing formula, and I've read so much about this, how you go down that road of giving formula, your milk supply dries up. Baby wants to drink out of the bottle because it's easier, all of that. And so, yeah, I mean, it was hard work because I had to pump. And then also feed her, and newborns want to eat all the time. So I had to pump, try to nurse her, and then also feed her from a bottle. It was a lot. So I definitely recommend, if you plan on breastfeeding, I recommend finding a lactation consultant who can help you, or a La Leche League, to help support you, because it's, a lot of us think it's going to be this easy thing. Like I did. I thought it was going to be this like super easy thing because I'd already done it before, and every baby is different, and it's really important to have support. So I recommend having that in place before giving birth, even if you're optimistic that you're not going to have any issues like I was. If I had that in place beforehand, I probably wouldn't have, gotten so stressed out about it, and I would have, but, fortunately I did find people who could help me. So
yeah, you found an amazing support team around you.
I did.
Were you able to freeze breast milk?
Yes, I did. I froze a whole bunch. I kept, pumping for a while after, the issue was fixed, just to try to maintain a good supply. But then after a while, the pumping started becoming, kind of a big chore, and I wasn't working at the time. I was at home caring for my mom too. And so, I just kind of froze a bunch for if I was ever gone and my husband wanted to feed her, or I would, I saved some for when she was a little bit older, and I started giving her solids and mixed it in with that. But I kind of phased out of the pumping after a few months.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think your biggest challenge was when you were pregnant, when you were 43? You were 43.
Yeah, 43. My biggest challenge, I think, my biggest challenge was not letting the first doctors that I had had in Montana were definitely, making me feel old. They were, they call it a geriatric pregnancy, and, they made me do the whole diabetes test, which, I found to be really disgusting. Like, they make you drink this, really sweet stuff, and I don't know, that whole process of that was unsettling for me. And I think that that was the hardest part for me, was the placing doubt in me and fear because of my age, from the doctors and the people I was working with at the beginning. So it's really helpful to find someone who's supportive of you. And it's silly because there's so many women giving birth in their 40s, and, we don't need to treat it like it's some sort of medical, emergency.
I totally agree.
It's a natural thing. And, at 40 years old, our bodies are, like I said, this was so much easier for me than it was when I was 21. So, I think that was the hardest part for me.
Besides diet, why do you think it was easier?
Well, I think, part of what was easier is a few years before, I guess it was about 3 or 4 years before I got pregnant, I started jogging and getting more into physical fitness. I'm a very light jogger. I don't like run marathons or anything like that, but, the running, jogging kind of thing really, I think, helped me stay in shape. I started doing an at-home, workout program, just doing, using small weights, nothing too crazy, but just like trying to stay active and keep my body in shape. And I think that really did set me up for success, because I felt so, strong. There's a picture on my Instagram page, of me when I was pretty pregnant, and I was showing off my muscles. I was pretty proud of how in shape I was. And so I think that did definitely set me up for success in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it sounds like you really prepared your body well.
Yeah, I did.
And what would you say to that woman who is pregnant over 40 right now?
I would say that, first of all, take a deep breath and trust yourself, trust your body, trust your baby, trust that you are going to be able to do this. And one of the things that I found really helpful too was just remembering how many women have done this before us, how many women are doing this right now. They're all there with you. They're all there, and we can tap into that. And so I recommend doing that, remembering that this is, in your blood. Like, this is what women's bodies do, and you can do it. And, you got to trust in that and just feel, confident that your body will know what to do when the time comes.
I love that. And do you think you will have more kids in your 40s?
I'm not sure. We are not, necessarily trying, but we're not using protection either. So, if it happens, it happens. But I'm 46 now, so I'm not sure what the odds are. I'm still having regular periods. I started having regular periods about, I think it was 8 months, 9 months. I don't know. I had a good solid 7 or 8 months of no period or really, really light period after having Lyra. And then, my period started becoming regular again. And so I'm still having regular periods. They're, some seem a little bit lighter than others, but, still seems like everything's going well. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Cool. So why do you think why your period didn't come back for 8 or 9 months? Do you think that's because of breastfeeding?
Yeah, I think so. I think for every woman, it's different. My friend got her period back after just like a month.
Ugh.
Um, and so, there's some women who can get pregnant right after having a baby, and that's just crazy. And it just really depends on your body, I think. So, yeah.
Anything else you want to mention?
No, I think I mentioned it, before. Just trust in yourself and enjoy the process. Relax. Don't Google too much. Try to read, try to, meditate, try to, just really get in touch with your body and your own personal strengths because you can do this. And, it's just really important to remember that.
Yeah. And as a nutritional therapist, how do you find your patients just local?
Yes, I have some local and I also work with people, from a distance as well. I can do either.
Okay. And how do people find you?
They can reach out to me, on my Instagram or my Facebook. I have a couple different, I have my personal Instagram account, which is Jodie Michelle. And then I have my, nutritional therapy account, which is Foundational Wellness. And I can send you that link if you want. But yeah, people can reach out to me through there.
Okay. And I will be sure to leave those links in the description. Jodie, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. I love talking about this. It was a very empowering experience.
Didn't you love Jodie's holistic approach to her pregnancy and birth? I know I did. One important takeaway I got from her story is just how important it is to physically prepare your body and to get the proper nutrition for you and the baby during and after pregnancy. Love it. And for next week's show, we have Rebecca, who had her first son at 43 and is currently 23 weeks pregnant at 46. I can't wait to share. And until then, have a great week, and I will see you next Monday. Bye.